Freedom is yours anytime that you wish. See my book? Where a lot of people go wrong in life is that they believe that their desires are found in tomorrow. They think that there is a better future, but this is the story that is told to the slaves to keep them well behaved. Because if you just keep going, if you just keep sacrificing, then maybe, just maybe, tomorrow you will finally get what you want. And so they keep you on the hamster wheel. And one day you wake up and realize that it was all a scam. And that everything that you could have ever wanted, you already have. But that the system, the world, its job was to keep you from this truth. Because the moment you come to this realization is the moment that nothing has any power over you ever again. You see, the only thing that is required is the recognition that you are already free. That everlasting peace is already here with you. That you are the source of all joy, all love, not anything else. But the problem is that we do not recognize ourselves because we are conditioned into believing that we are somebody who we are not. And I think deep down, we feel that. We feel that we aren't being our authentic self. We've lost that spark, that childlike innocence, because as we've gotten older, as our minds have developed and gotten more strong, we just keep putting on more and more onto this identity. We keep piling on more baggage, and we never let it go. And before you know it, we are carrying these mountains on our shoulders. We have no rest, no relief. Every day is a struggle. And we are carrying unbearable burdens. And we get exhausted and exhausted until one day we break under the pressure because we just can't sustain this. We just can't take it any longer. And it is often fighting for the people that we love that we continue on, that we bear our crosses, we bear our suffering. And yes, this is a beautiful part of the human experience, the unbreakable human spirit. But if you truly care about the people you love, if you truly want to live and not just be a slave, to not be a slave to the system, to not be a slave to anything in this life. Because so long as you are a slave, there will be suffering. Because you will be forced to do things that you don't want to do. But when you are free, there is no suffering. Most often it is those who suffer greatly who are the most ready to see, because they are desperate for relief, for rest. As Jesus said, "Come to me all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And this is that rest that he spoke about. Freedom from the burdens of existence, of suffering, that is available to all. You don't have to be an enlightened being or a spiritual master. You don't have to meditate for decades. You don't have to do anything. Because you are already that. You are already free. And it is the idea that we have to become free that keeps us from this realization. It is the idea that we are a person on a spiritual journey that is what is keeping us from the destination. Because you are already at the finish line. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to do anything. We live in a culture, in a world where you just have to take massive action. If you want to get what you want, you have to always be doing something. But the fact is that if you pay attention, life is already doing everything. We just come along with our egos and try to take responsibility for the work that is already being done. You see, as the words flow out from my mouth, am I consciously speaking? Am I consciously choosing each and every word to speak to you? Now, there are times where my mind gets in the way and the flow is interrupted. But in the flow, the words are speaking themselves. I am not doing anything. Perhaps the speaking is doing me, if that makes sense. In the same way, the divine intelligence of the universe, that force of God, whatever you wish to call it, is already evolving everything forward. And so there is no reason to place unnecessary burdens upon yourself when God has already taken care of everything. There is no point to worry about this or that when God has already worked it all out. Why worry about your family, danger, fear of injury, or ill health? Why place that burden upon yourself when you know that a negative feeling, fear, shame, guilt, a positive outcome does not naturally arise from these things? So it is our fear that co-creates the negative reality that we are trying to avoid. And sometimes we feel that we are a bad person for not caring. But as Mooji has said, it's not so much that you don't care, it's that you don't mind. Because when you are free, you accept reality as it is, and you do not add any more nonsense into the equation. But in fact, if you assume that all things are working out for your highest benefit, then that is the reality in which you will create. And if you assume that everything is out to get you, that is the world in which you will live in. And so what is the truth? Well, the truth is what you make of it. Think of it this way. God is all-powerful, all-knowing. God is everything. And we, as an ego, as this human, are very limited. Now, God can do anything, and we can only do so much. So why would we get in the way? Why not have less of us and more of God? Does God not already know the best outcome, the best path to take? But we don't know. We have to guess, or we have to have faith or trust. But why not just be free from that burden altogether? And know that where you are right now, no matter what is happening, no matter if you are in the middle of making a mistake, or if you're on top of the highest mountain, would you not assume that God is already guiding you to your highest path, to what you need most? Because why would God ever want something less for you? Why would God ever want you to be less than you are? Why would God ever want to destroy you? Therefore, the stories that we play in our head about the world and the way things are and the way that other people are, it does nothing but get in the way and sabotage our blessings. Because if God is infinite abundance, but we place limitations and scarcity upon ourselves, then we cannot receive infinite abundance. We cannot receive these blessings. And so it is precisely in removing all that is unnecessary, all the nonsense in our minds, that allows the grace of God to flow most freely through us. One example is, if you were the earth, all of your ideas and your beliefs, all of your thoughts, are like satellites orbiting the earth. And most people have so many satellites that it completely blocks out the light of the sun. You see, the sun is always there, but when we are operating in this world, on this earth, we can have the experience of being separate from that light. Because our thoughts, our mind has created this separation. And so our whole world can be shrouded in darkness, and yet God is still there the whole time. We just have lost the ability to see, because God is found in silence, and our minds are often so noisy that we are blinded from seeing that truth. And so, by letting go, by surrendering to what is, we drop the burdens of needing to know, of needing to figure things out, of needing to take massive action to change our lives. We remove the need to try and help other people, to try and save anybody, to try and make a relationship work. We remove the burden of trying to support the ones we love, to be financially secure, to put bread on the table. All of these burdens are released. Now, how free would you be? And you see, when you place your burdens on God, God does not experience a burden. But those burdens placed upon us in our limited form can crush us. They can be unbearable. And yet for God, they are nothing. So don't allow your good heart to crush you. Because with that good heart, you want to do everything to give to everyone else. And yet, the best way to give is to give it all to God. And from this place of freedom, now you can release the burdens of others. Now you can support others better than you could have ever done before. You can provide for the ones you love because you have opened the gate to infinite abundance. Because you are no longer sabotaging your blessings by worrying, by ruminating on the past or the future, by trying to figure things out and being stressed. When you relieve yourself of these burdens, you find that God is an eternal support that will never let you fall. And the more we surrender and the more we trust that everything will work out, the more everything does. But sometimes it's difficult to take that leap of faith when we've spent our whole lives trying to manipulate and control everything. But I'm here to tell you that when I have taken this approach to life, not only is there great freedom, not only is there minimal amounts of suffering and pain, but all problems work themselves out. There is no struggle. There is no striving really hard. Because God is already taking care of everything, not me. Not my mind, at least. Once the mind is out of the way, God can do everything. But the mind is like a valve to a hose. It constricts the life force within us. So the more mind, the less God. The less mind, more God. Which is why complete surrender and the giving up of all burdens, you become more powerful than you have ever been. You can provide, you can support, you can love others, and also be free and at peace and in joy. You become the greatest offering for the world by doing less, by being less. Would you rather live your life as a human monkey, trying to do everything on your own? Or would you rather let all of that go and give it all to God and allow the divine force of eternity, of the infinite, to speak and work through you, to allow this divine intelligence that has evolved the entire cosmos, remember, without any help on your part. It's already unfolding automatically. And so when you allow this force to take over your life enters into absolute harmony, and all things are worked out, and all worries are solved, and all problems go away. And yet on the surface you live like anyone else, but in here you are free.